Hey folks, Brian Singh here from Brian's Stable, and greetings to you from Alta Gracia in Cordoba province in Argentina. And today we are visiting one of the starters of the revolution, one of the childhood homes of Che Guevara. This one's a little treat and a little walk into world history and insights into what the global north never tells you what is really going on or what they tried to do in the revolution. Stay tuned, it's a good story. Museo Casa del Che.
The other was the first house of the Che. The other.
Oh, so we missed it.
House.
Right.
9 years here, 8 months there.
So there's actually two houses. Let's go and see what the first house looks like before we go into the other place. It's locked. Let's sneak this through. So this is one of his homes.
Yes, the next year will be a restaurant. Yes.
He said, oh, so it's going to become a restaurant. So Villa Chichita.
Villa Chichita. Usted la googlea y le sale toda la casa como era.
Okay.
La historia, le cuenta en Google.
Okay, bueno.
Villa Chichita, 8 meses vivió en esta casa y después se cruzó a Villa Nidia. La del frente se llama Villa Nidia.
Villa Nidia.
Sí, es el nombre.
Okay, bueno. So yes, two homes. One less important than the other, but he spent more time in this house.
All that kind of houses is from the ferrocarril railroad, the English railroad
So,
era.
okay.
So you can see the English style.
Very similar to Canada because they built the railroad across Canada.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Hola.
Hola.
Gracias, Mariano.
Okay.
¿Cómo es?
It's 2,000 pesos to go into the house here.
We have 2 more museums to see.
For that ticket price?
Yes.
Okay, well, we don't have to go to everyone. But what a deal! One of the important things about coming to a place like this, where we live in an imperfect world where our heroes are also imperfect. But because of who they are and what they inspired, we should pay attention to them. And one of my problems is that Western societies or the global North tends to diminish the accomplishment of these people and puts them in a negative light. But they are people and they did great things and they inspired great movements. We forget that. And they were children and their ideas came from somewhere. So while I'm here in Argentina, it was very important for me, because I was near this place, to come and visit the home of Che Guevara. He spent 9 years here, and the family moved to this area because he had, the air is very fresh and very dry, and that it was good for his asthma. So it was very interesting to actually come here. Gracias. It's okay to use video? Yes. Okay, thank you. Gracias. So these were his toys. You see, even as a young kid, he wanted to go fast.
Yes.
Yeah. But the zapatillas? No, those are zapatos, because they're made of leather, right? And look at his clothes, and look at how he had to, the inhaler.
You know, because he came to live here, because he was sick of
Asthma, yeah.
And that was the treatment.
Yeah. And the family pictures here. I'm very impressed that Castro and
Chávez were here.
Yeah.
This is the school, I think.
His grades.
Yes.
That's his handwriting.
Yes. growing up, he started to ride bicycles and had travels around in that place, no? In visiting different province.
I could entrar a prohibida. Well, you know, like that to somebody rebellious is saying you cannot go.
You see the travel he made in bicycle.
He made that in a bicycle.
Yeah,
He went all the way to Buenos Aires in that bicycle. Look at that. And there he is on his bicicleta, his bicycle. And, but look, he went all the way up to Salta. Wow, on that. Incredible. And these are some of the pictures.
Universidad de Buenos Aires.
He was studying medicine, correct?
Yes.
But he left medical school to start the revolution. More important things to do.
Yes.
Yeah, he enrolled at the Faculty of Medicine for his medical degree in 1953. It's interesting to see how the inspiration for his famous motorcycle journey started on a bicycle. In medical school, cadaver. That's his is that his father? And let's see. He was a handsome man, wasn't he?
This bicycle. It's the same bicycle. Can you see?
Imagine.
Yes.
No, you know.
Here you can see that.
I know.
It's the same bicycle.
Look, the hairs on my arm are raised just being in the presence of that bicycle.
Then he starts with the
Motorbike.
motorbike. And the travels around Latin America.
A Norton bike too.
Yes.
And here is his primer viaje, Argentina, Chile, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela. And then the second one, that's when he went to Cuba. And he stayed in Cuba for a while. What a trip, eh? What an education. And no, you know, when you see income inequality like that, and these are his writings. And these are some pictures from his travels. His travels in America. He must have fixed that motorbike so many times. He must have. Like, look at that. That's the original.
Yes.
No, that is something that I find amazing about Latin America, that people move around within Latin America like that because you speak Spanish.
Yeah.
There's a commonality of that. And here he is with his family. And here he is representing Cuba as a minister in Uruguay at this was a very famous conference where they were trying to organize the Latin American countries into a common economic union, which of course the Americans and the Europeans hated, because any sort of self-determination by what they oppressed was always crushed. So he was in Cuba until 1965. Other trips he took, on the world commerce. He was with the Prime Minister of the USSR, and he visited Africa. Back in the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of exchange of ideas between Africa and the Caribbean and Latin America, where they were trading ideas and meeting to help them figure out how to be more productive within their own countries and less reliant on Europe and the United States. And here they were in 1960 forging a relationship with Mao Zedong. What an amazing life he led. You're seeing the start of what could have been an alternative reality that was destroyed right here. Here he is with, was that Suharto? And I think that in Indonesia. Oh, here he is. Okay, so he was in India in 1959. In Egypt here, that was Nasser. Nasser was there in 1959. Well, that was in Java, sorry, in Indonesia. This was also Sukarno in Indonesia. And this was with Nehru in India. And here he was in Japan. No, he was getting organized.
Paint the face of black, of mulatto, of working class, of working in ranch, or close the doors. Then population will break the doors, and the people paint the university with the colors they want.
And they call him a horrible man, and they refer to him as a terrorist.
Yes.
He is a terrorist because he challenged.
Yes.
No, that's how this works, you know? He wanted to liberate people and give them the economic potential that they deserve.
Yes.
This was towards the end of his life. Because they killed him in Bolivia, right? Yes. Yeah, there you go. Right there. '97, September, had begun the persecution of Che, and his body was found 30 years later in a mass grave. And his body was taken to Cuba. So, yep, with Benitez in Congo, he was in Africa. Just look. You see the seeds of what people were trying to do right here. A collection of his writings here. And here are his notebooks. In the university, I had a bag like that. I know. And this was the uniform of the movement. And in case you want to see where he showered, he took a bath and showered and used the toilet. Yes, this is where she was. I know, when baby. This is when he was a baby here. And we're going to follow the arrows. As a kid, he had a lot of desire to go fast, didn't he? And this is the kitchen. This is where his mother cooked.
Chávez and Castro here were.
Yes. They visited in July 22nd, 2006. Look across there. They signed the guestbook. No. Castro and
Chávez.
Chavez. They kept the house wide open for friends so they could all have books. Is that something? Look at this. The power of an education. And there you have it, my friends, with my buddy Che. And we're signing off here from his childhood home. And just to give you a sense on what you may read or what you have heard in the global north is sometimes not the story that really happened. And you can see how the seeds of the revolution to bring self-determination to so many of the poor countries of the global south, for them to harness their own resources and their intellectual power, began from sharing knowledge in the family home to going out to the world to discover what actually was happening in those countries that needed to get organized, that was ultimately crushed by the global north. And it is no surprise that what we look at today is very much a product of what started in that era, that if countries like this ever got organized, they would do everything in their power to crush any initiative to keep that dependency to them so they could stay in control and use their tools of terrorism to keep exploiting countries like this. And there's no surprise that when you look at what's going on in Argentina today, in terms of their leadership and what they're doing in terms of the privatization of energy and providing great access to water and their resources to the global capitalists and the oligarchs that we are now seeing control the world here in 2026. This dude, man, imperfect as he was, tried to do something good for all of us. All right, folks, me and Che, we're signing off here. Go out there, learn about the world, learn about what actually happened, and peace the world.